Hello, and we are live. Tonight, we are going to be introduced to two more characters in the Spiritsong campaign. Tonight, we have Junimo, who will be playing Harlowe, and Riley, who will be playing Enid. I hope I got that right. um, all right. We're going to start tonight with Harlowe. Get to know her a little more, figure out where she's at, who she is, and all that good stuff. All right. Some scenes here. We are starting tonight's tale beneath the waves of the Tail Sea. Off the coast of Wickham Harbor, where the warm currents sweep past a breathtaking aquatic paradise, and the ocean is alive with a vibrant dance of colors. Corals of electric blues, radiant pinks, and glowing greens sculpt the seascape, while schools of fish, brilliant as scattered gems, swim in harmonious swirls. It is here we find Harlowe, a student of sorts, stationed at the Yingxing Research Outpost, out gathering rare coral samples for her master, Professor Cobras. Harlowe, can you please describe your character for us?
Absolutely. So I am a Mapak girl about equivalent for a human, maybe around 23 years old. She's a young adult. She has typical sort of raccoon markings with sort of a reddish brown, kind of rusty coloration. Um, she wears all of these like ridiculously excessive layers of packs and tool belts like crisscrossed all over her body with every single possible tool that she could need for any job, just right at a moment's notice available to her. And she moves when she's looking for her samples very precisely, very carefully when she's picking anything up or touching any samples. But then as soon as she withdraws from it, she's kind of hectic, kind of all over the place, and like almost as if she's like gesturing to herself, explaining things to herself that she's thinking of so she doesn't forget since she can't take notes. She has these huge, oversized goggles on top of her head that she just never takes off. And when she pulls them down, they make her eyes really, really huge. But they definitely help her see things close up, like rare coral, for example.
All right, and with that, go ahead and make either an investigation or a nature check as you search for something worthy of Master Cobras's attention.
Okay.
Nice, nice. Hold on, just see that, and that's a 19. In the shimmering depths where the sunlight gently kisses the sea floor, you discover an extraordinary piece of coral. It radiated a luminous, almost ethereal glow with hues of deep purples and vibrant oranges. A masterpiece sculpted by the patient hands of nature. This sample will truly please your master. But with that roll, you see something else, something curious, something out of place. It is a broken wooden heart lying on the seafloor, made from intricately woven branches, lying somewhat forlornly on the sandy ground at the base of the coral. The branches appear rotten and brittle. Do you pick it up?
If I look at it and the sort of shape of the sand that's been pushed by the waves around it, does it appear like it's still in one piece, or does it appear like if I pick it up, it will break all apart?
It looks extraordinarily fragile.
Okay. I would like to. I don't want to break it. It's very interesting. Is there anything unique about it that looks like an anchor piece or something that I could grab that might be sturdy?
Go ahead and make an investigation or perception check.
Okay.
Another nice roll. The dirty 20. You can see that if you're very careful, you might be able to pick it up without damaging it further. It's about the size of the palm of your hand. So
Okay.
it's not that large. And if you're careful, if you scoop it up with the sand beneath it, you might be able to keep it intact.
Okay. I would like to try to do that using like a sheet of metal from my pack, from my kit, just to kind of scoop underneath and keep it very flat while I lift it.
Okay. You lift it with this piece of metal. Did I get that right?
Yeah, sort of like a cookie sheet almost, just like a
All right.
flat. Yeah.
All right. So you have this strange wooden heart, clearly out of place in this coral bed, in your cookie sheet at the bottom of the sea. And as you look upon it more, something happens. You feel the currents shift around you. You feel a drop in temperature. Things have gotten inexplicably colder, and quite quickly. Out of the corner of your eye, you see a shadow, vast and foreboding, tucked behind the reef.
How big is the shadow? Does it look like the kind of thing I would be keeping my eyes peeled for, or does it seem
Make a
unusual?
perception check.
Okay.
You're rolling pretty well. 12. You don't manage to see exactly what that shape was. It was moving far too quickly. But what you do see are a stream of bubbles in its wake. And from the number of bubbles and their speed and the displacement of water that it caused, you can tell that whatever it was large. At this time, you notice the sun's rays dim, surrendering to a growing gloom that seems to pull you deeper into an abyssal embrace. Can you please make a wisdom saving throw for me, please?
Okay.
All right. Panic starts to claw at your mind. The breathing apparatus sputters, betraying your need for air. And you have the distinct feeling that you are suddenly drowning. Ocean's once welcoming warmth has vanished and is replaced by icy fingers of fear. What's going through Harlowe's mind at this time?
I think I'm trying not to panic. I'm panicking, but I'm trying not to panic because I know that that makes worse. And studies say that if you panic, it just makes things worse, and then you cycle, and then you end up making it so much worse for yourself and panic even more. And it won't help anything, and it won't help anything. And I have to calm down. I have to calm down right now.
Suddenly, you feel something brush against your foot. And you look down and you see the shadow of an enormous tentacle wrapping itself around your ankle and up your leg, dragging you down deeper into darkness.
it's pulling me. It's pulling me already. It's grabbed me and it's pulling me. Okay, I am thinking that to myself, and I am going to grab my nail launcher from my holster that I use back at the station to fix things, and I am going to shoot the tentacle against the coral to try to pin it and get out of its grasp.
All right. Go ahead and make that shot.
Okay.
You won't have a target, so you can just roll your attack.
Okay. How do I attack with the nail launcher?
Just click on it. Yep, just like that.
Oh, did it already go through?
Natural 20.
Oh, gosh.
Natural 20. Nice. For 13 points of damage.
So that should make the tentacle grappled as well.
It is. So the tentacle is pinned to the coral as your nail gun fires. Unfortunately, you see 2 more tentacles come up, reaching for you.
I would like to use my Healy boots to back away really, really quickly along the floor of the TLC, just away from their reach.
Can you make a dexterity saving throw for me, please?
Okay.
And you're actually going to need to make a second one because there are 2 tentacles coming for you.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, you are on fire tonight. All right, unfortunately, the 20 was awesome, but the 13 was not enough.
Okay.
So one of the tentacles has grabbed you, and it is pulling you down. And the strange thing is, in this darkness, you have lost all sense of up or down, left or right. The vibrant colors of the coral reef are gone, and all you feel is darkness, as if you're in the middle of an abyss.
Okay. Am I able to see from where I was how long the tentacles seem to be, where they're pulling me to?
Make a perception check. And I believe you have dark vision, so that'll be a straight roll.
Okay.
Nice. So as you try to pierce the darkness with your vision to see how far these tentacles reach down, to see where the head of this octopus or whatever this thing is below you, above you, you really can't tell at this point. What you do see is something wrong, horribly wrong. I need you to make another wisdom saving throw for me.
Okay.
What you see come rushing towards you is not the maw of a giant octopus or a squid, but that of a mapak. Its strange head fitted on top of this octopus body comes rushing towards you, but it's ghostly in nature, almost translucent, ethereal, a bluish color. And as your eyes widen in disbelief at the sight of this impossible creature, you can feel your heart racing and your lungs starting to ache for air. As this ghostly Mapok's face now inches from your own, you hear its voice echoing in the watery void. Save The child. And with those words hanging in the cold sea, the tentacles suddenly release you. You wake up, gasping, your fur drenched with seawater, but you're in the safety of your own bed. The morning light creeping timidly through the window. Can you describe what your room looks like?
Yes. Okay. My room is, well, from my perspective, waking up, it's very plain. It is a wooden room, all sides, wooden roof, wooden floor. There's not a lot of extras to it. There are places where you can see that the floorboards and the windowsill and things like that have been nailed back together multiple times, and a lot of sort of DIY repairs to the room. That said, it is totally functional. It's not in bad condition at all. I have a small window that looks out onto the sea from my room in the outpost, which is out on the water. And I have a little, like a little desk where I have my workbook that I'd left open to a schematic that I was drawing. I have papers kind of all over the place. To me, obvious organization here. This pile is for working on, this pile is for reference of what I'm working on, this pile is for, you get the idea. I have books kind of all over the place, and little pieces of technology and trinkets and things I'm tinkering on, and tons of little souvenir type looking things, little rocks, fossils, things that just seem like maybe it's a bookend, but as soon as you take a look at any of these things, it becomes obvious that there's something unique and interesting about it, even if maybe it's only interesting to me.
Nice. And so as you wake up, you're soaking wet, drenched with seawater. Um, and the last vestiges of the dream fade, leaving the remnants of that fear and that drowning sensation slowly behind. It is at this point that you realize you are clutching in your hand that broken wooden heart.
Okay.
At this
Do
point,
I, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead. What would you like to?
Do I remember any other context where I might have gotten this? Or it's like the first time I've seen it other than my dream?
It's the first time you've ever seen
Okay.
it, and only in your
Okay.
dreams, and you have just woken up as if you have just taken a bath in the ocean.
Okay. I am going to very gently carry it over to my desk. I'm going to try to put it down carefully. And what I'd like to do is in my workbook, I'm going to do 2 sketches. I'm going to draw everything that I remember about that weird octopus with the mapak face and try to get all the details down exactly as I remember it, close up of the tentacle. And then I'm going to try to draw what I remember seeing, the heart on the bottom of the ocean and all the little pieces that had already broken off and where they were, so that I can try to get an idea of all the things that might have been a part of it that maybe broke off before.
All right. Very good. So as you are busy trying to record your memories, your dreams in your journal, I'm going to switch over to Enid. So perched atop the frothy teal waves of the tail sea, an architectural marvel of a house stands. A haphazard symphony of wood, metal, and ingenuity rooted to the sea by a forest of stilts. The salty sea breeze plays with the whimsical wind chimes and sings through the weather vanes, crafting a melody that harmonizes with the gentle creaks and groans of the swaying structure. The scent of brine mingles with the warm fragrance of timber, each breath a reminder of the ocean's embrace and the resilience of wood. This is the Yingxing Research Outpost, the home of three eccentric wizards and their students. It's clad in weathered shingles that tell tales of 100 storms, and its windows aglow with the inviting light of 1,000 spells and the soft amber of oil lamps. As the sun casts its morning golden rays upon the abode, drawing out the luster of the brass contraptions that adorn the roof, a collection of curious inventions that whir and puff, ever alive with steam and the spark of magic. From the pipes and chimneys, a symphony of steam whispers into the air, painting transient clouds against the clear sky. Flags and pennants flutter like wings, their fabrics snapping like the sails of ships long gone. While below, the ocean laps at the wooden legs of the house, a lullaby for the slumbering heart of the deep. Inside, the crackle of firewood stove keeps the salt chilled air at bay, and the clinking of potion bottles creates a rhythm beckoning the curious and the brave to discover the wonders within. As the sun rises above the horizon, casting a rainbow of colors across the expanse of sky, we find Enid seated in her room. Enid, can you please describe yourself? Okay. And what would she be doing at sunrise in her room? Is she nocturnal by nature typically, or does she travel about? So this would be close to bedtime for Enid. Okay. So this is she's just waking up at this point then. All right. Um, and what does Enid's room look like? Okay. As would you say you're still in bed then, just kind of getting up? Okay. You see the door to your room get pushed open a crack, and a moment later, A large, rather heavy-set black cat jumps onto your bed and crawls onto your chest. This is Karma, Professor uh, Corbus's? Hold on. Cobras. Professor Cobras's cat. And she immediately settles herself down on your chest, rather a heavy cat, and she starts playing with your astrolabe, just kind of batting at it. You can hear her start purring. Now, you've only been here for a couple of months, as you mentioned, but you know that Karma, who is Professor Cobras's familiar, would not have come into your room without a purpose. And you know this purpose is that you are being summoned. And as Karma continues to bat at your astrolabe, starts to chew on it a little, see if she can pull it off your neck. She pauses for a moment, sits up straight, and looks directly at you, curiously. All right. As you get up, she wraps herself around your legs, continuously purring. And then she struts out of your room, tail high, waiting for you to follow. All right. Now, the living quarters for the students who stay in this research outpost are kind of cloistered off to one side of this compound. And as you pass by Harlowe's room, you can see Karma just kind of brush up against it as if she were trying to push the door open with her weight. But at that exact moment, you hear what sounds to be like as if someone were to pour a bucket of water on a wooden floor, and you just hear the splash of water. And you can see a little bit of that water kind of seep out from beneath the door, causing Karma to jump back on all fours, kind of stand hair on end, and give a little hiss at it, and then scamper away. Does Harlowe answer? Oh, you're on mute, I think. Yeah, there you go.
Am I doing my sketches?
You're doing your you're just about doing your you've rushed out of bed to try and capture your memories, and you're in the middle of sketching things now.
Okay. Just a minute. You can open the door, but just a minute. Yeah. Looks that way. It's the ocean. Bye. Back to sketching.
All right. Yeah. When you open the door, Enid, you notice that her bed was soaked. Harlowe was soaked, sitting at her desk, sketching madly away. Yes, you might be in the middle of the ocean, but her bed and herself are a little out of place there. Okay. So you proceed on to Cobras's office? Okay. As you approach his door, you hear the muted sounds of what seems to be a heated debate coming from within. What would you like to do? Sure. Go ahead, make a perception check. No worries. We'll take the first one. You can't make out the voices. There are two of them. One is male, the other female. The male one is clearly Cobras's. You can hear his distinctive, like very almost aristocratic kind of tone that he takes, but you have never heard the other voice before. You do. You do. That's correct. The 9, that's still not a great roll. Karma is kind of hanging out in front of the office door, just kind of rubbing up against it, looks up at you, cocks her head a little bit, then looks past you back towards Harlowe's room. Realize that Harlowe is not with you, and she just starts walking back down the hallway. All right. As you approach to knock on the door, it suddenly bursts open, and you see emerging from it a turtle. And I'll show you a picture of her. Where does she go? This is the infamous Professor Tuttle, the third professor who resides on this outpost, yet is rarely seen here. She halts for a moment as she comes out and sees you standing there ready to knock. Her gaze sweeps over you, looks you up and down with quite an intensity that makes you feel a little uncomfortable. Her dark eyes reflecting a storm of thoughts. She's adorned in vibrant red bandana and matching strips of cloth tied around her upper arms, and she has the most mosaic of experiences, the ruins, piercings, tattoos etched into her skin and shell tell tales of distant lands and arcane secrets. The air around her is heavy with the scent of herbs and the sea. An olfactory tapestry woven from the countless pouches and satchels that dangle from all sorts of straps and belts that she wears. Their contents a mystery, as potent as their smell. Without a word, she pushes past you. All right. And she vanishes around the corner, leaving just a fragrance of untold oceans and salt behind. You hear Cobras in his office say, "Come in." As you walk in, you see Professor Cobra sitting behind his desk. It seems to be his constant position. You rarely see him leave his desk. He is the headmaster of this outpost, a sorcerer of some renown. But he's also a bureaucrat. And you can see from the windows behind him, even though it is a bright, sunny morning, and the beautiful sunrise is kind of stretching over the horizon, you can see he's put some sort of enchantment on his windows to make it look like it's dark and rainy at night. It seems to enjoy the gloomy nature that it and the uncomfortable feeling it kind of imbues upon the visitors within his office. You see him scribbling on a piece of paper, writing something, probably something very official, very important. He just kind of waves you without looking up at his seat to sit at his table. He continues scribbling away a little bit and just looks up once looks at you and says, "Where's Harlowe?" That is not what I'm asking. You can see for a moment he sits back and his eyes just kind of roll back into his head for a moment. I'm going to shift back to you, Harlowe. You're scribbling. You managed to, you feel that you have captured what you can and what you recall from your memory. What would you like to do after that?
Okay. Well, I guess I'm gonna get cleaned up a little bit and get dressed and give my mind a minute to stop thinking about my dream. Because, when you leave something for a minute and you come back to it later with fresh eyes, sometimes you can figure out more. So I'm going to put it down and walk away, even though that seems so crazy, and get dressed and ready for today. And then I guess Karma's coming to get me.
Yeah, you hear a slight scratching at the door and a mewing. Do you know it to be Karma?
Okay. I'm going to do the little sound that I use for Karma, which is like sort of a rhythmic, like sort of sound that imitates one of the really common bugs that lives near here that I know Karma likes to chase. And so she knows she can come in.
All right. The door creaks open a few inches, and then a few inches more as the bulk of her body just kind of pushes through the entranceway. And you see Karma come waltzing up to you, starts brushing against your legs. You can hear her purring.
I guess I'm being summoned, huh? All right. I'm gonna pack up my most important stuff that I always take with me everywhere. So my sketchbook, my workbook, and put on my tool belts so I'm ready for the day and follow Karma to wherever I'm being summoned.
Okay. She kind of pauses for a moment, and as you're ready to leave, she just kind of starts scratching at your leg, kind of stands up on her behind two legs, puts her front paws on your leg, and you can clearly tell she wants to be picked up.
Okay.
The walk back to Culber's office is far too long for her.
Okay, I'm going to scoop her up and I'm going to put her up on my shoulder because I have a little thing here that's attached to my pack so that it's kind of like a little stand, and then she can just sit there and we can like go on down.
All right. You make your way back to Culber's office, and as you do so, you just hear, you feel, first of all, Karma just kind of rub her cheek just behind your ear, and then Culber's voice whispers in your ear, "You're late."
This is a message I can reply to.
You can try.
Okay, I am going to respond kind of to as if I'm talking to Karma and be like, "Oh, Karma, I guess you got to be faster too, huh? Let's speed our way down." Kind of like, "Oh, this has been an issue we've dealt with before. Not my fault, and don't take it very personally."
All right. You walk back down to Professor Culber's office. I think I spelled his name wrong here, but anyway. And you see Enid sitting there already. What is Enid doing all this time? Because the professor has totally ignored you in the meantime. Okay. And Harlowe, how do you enter the office?
I'm gonna throw the door open. Nothing weird about it. I'm gonna walk in my normal way, put Karma down right on the desk, right on top of whatever's there, and say good morning. And sit down, kind of plop down in my chair I always sit in, kind of put my feet like crisscross applesauce.
You see Professor Cobra's just kind of... Thank you for joining us this morning, Harlowe.
You're welcome. What's going on?
How long have you been with us, Harlowe?
As long as I can remember. When did you bring me here?
Many years indeed.
Many years then.
And tell me, how has my tutelage come along with you? Have you any sense at all of the arcane powers of the great rhythm that binds us all?
Well, when you say sense of, I suppose that's a different question than whether I know of them. But the answer to either would be yes. Everything that we study here has some kind of connection to the great rhythm, from the creatures that live in the ocean and move to the flow of the water. Everything is connected in some way to the great rhythm or affected by it. And I know we all feel it. Why do you ask? It's such a broad question.
Don't play word games with me, Harlowe.
Well, if you were more specific, I wouldn't have to ask.
Let's out another long sigh. Harlowe. Over the years, I have tried every method at my disposal to somehow awaken within you an arcane sensibility. One where you are not just connected to the great rhythm by some feeble tether that's inconsequential. I am talking about raw power. Have you felt that at all, Harlowe?
Are you talking about harnessing the power of the rhythm?
Yes. Making it a part of yourself, redirecting it, bending it to your will.
Well, I would say yes. That's what all this is. And I put my workbook on the desk in front of him, and I start flipping through pages, and I bring it to one of my most recent schematics that I've drawn. I'd be like, that's what I've always been explaining to you, but you always told me not to do it.
Grabs the book from you, slams it shut, and throws it off to one side.
What?
Enough with that nonsense. That is not magic. That is gadgetry. That is gimmicks. That is for charlatans. Harlowe, I've spent the best years of my life trying to instill upon you and teach you the arcane arts, and yet you refuse and always go back to this nonsense.
If it weren't for my nonsense, this whole outpost would have fallen apart 10 years ago. I use the arcane arts, as you call them, to work in harmony with the things that I build, things that I've learned to do, because I live here, because you have taught me. You taught me the importance of the balance of nature and the arcane and how they work in concert. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do with my schematics. And they've made it so that you can keep working here, that we all can keep working here.
You have proven yourself a very valuable, handy person. I will grant you that. But what you do is not magic. What you do is not a binding of the arcane and the natural world. What you do is an abomination. I can teach you no more here. I can justify your presence here no longer.
What?
I'm sending you away. There's nothing more I can do for you here.
What do you mean away?
I've arranged for a colleague of mine to take you in at the Luminarium in Jowa. You'll start there tomorrow. That is all.
Okay. I'm gonna pick up my workbook and I'm gonna knock some stuff off his desk on my way out, just kind of pile it over. And I guess I'm gonna go up to my room. No. I'm gonna go to my workstation and I'm going to put together all of the things that I've been working on, all of my important little pieces of things that I need to build stuff with and travel with, I guess, because that's what's important for travel. Not thinking about food, thinking about glass, copper, wire, you know, the important things. And just like angrily packing a bag and trying to be angry and not terrified.
Enid, while this conversation is taking place and you're just kind of sitting there witnessing it, what is going through your mind? I did not ask for your opinion, Enid. Go ahead and make an insight check for me, please. He just stares back at you blankly, impassively, and says, Harlowe's business is none of your concern. And that is why you are here. It would seem we were blessed and graced with your presence for some misdeeds, I understand, that you perpetrated back at the Luminarium. Regardless, that's again none of my concern, but neither is your stay here. You have been summoned by Professor Silverberry. The old fool seems to think that you might be useful to him. If you cannot be useful, then I must ask, what is the point? Of your existence? You must contribute. And what is it that you contribute, Enid? I do not need to justify my decisions nor my actions to you, especially one who has been accused of plagiarism and theft. That is all I wish to convey to you this morning. That your time here at the outpost is coming to a conclusion. As Professor Silverberry has found a use for you. That is all. Please do. He doesn't even see the bow. He's gotten back into his paperwork and he started into his own thing. Okay. Okay. Okay.
I'm going to say, what did I do? Thinking she meant I did something that wasn't fair.
Harlowe, you first. As you're angrily packing your things, you see a little songbird come rest on the windowsill of your room or your workshop. And you recognize this to be Professor Silverberry's familiar. As it sings to you, and you can strangely understand what it is saying. It's summoning you to his library. When you're ready.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay. All right. I'll try to finish up everything in my workstation and take my the book that I was most recently using, Book of Lore, there into my pack, and then I'm gonna head over to the library.
Okay. And soon after, that same little songbird rests on your windowsill, Enid. Okay. So you make your way to the library too? All right. Silverberry's library. It's a rickety wooden wonder that seems to defy the laws of gravity and logic. The structure, with its warped wooden planks and salt-weathered sides, sways gently with the rhythm of the waves, emitting creaks and groans like an old sea shanty. As you step onto the swaying porch outside the library, a salty breeze flutters through the strings of delicate, colorful glass chimes, casting dancing rainbows across the cluttered space. Stepping inside, The musty scent of ancient parchment and the tang of the ocean washes over you. Books of every shape and size are stacked in precarious piles or lined shelves that tilt at odd angles, their contents ranging from the arcane to the divine. Each book is a portal, bound in covers with that pulse with a faint glow hinting at the magic contained within. Scrolls and maps spill across a large central table, fluttering like wings whenever the sea gusts through open windows adorned with hanging bottles filled with glowing fireflies. The room is filled with the soft sounds of a magical wind harp, tuned to the whispers of the sea, creating a melody that weaves seamlessly with the distant call of seabirds. A spiral staircase, crafted from driftwood and bits of shipwreck, creaks invitingly to a loft where a brass telescope points towards the horizon. Here you see Professor Silverberry, a quirky gerbine with graying silver hair, scribbling notes on a piece of parchment, surrounded by bubbling potions and flickering candles that emit a cozy golden light. I'll give you a better look at Professor Silverberry. So you have been around here enough, both of you, especially Harlowe, to know that Professor Silverberry is a sweetheart. He's the kindest, gentlest gerbine you could ever meet. Unfortunately, he's going a little senile, and he's losing his hearing, which is unfortunate, as his line of magic is sonomancy, the magic of sound. He does not seem to hear or notice that you have entered, as he busily scribbles notes and gazes through his telescope. What would the two of you like to do?
I am going to, as I enter the library and approach, I'm going to stomp my feet as I walk, so that he feels that I'm approaching.
Yeah. He looks up a little startled from his note taking, looks down from his loft towards you, and says, "Oh, oh, welcome. Thank you for coming." He quickly just kind of drops everything he's doing, kind of gets up, forgets that there's a potion sitting on his lap, so that kind of spills and kind of the flask rolling across the floor. But he pays no attention to that as he just kind of scrambles his way down the staircase towards you. Ah, thank you. Oh, I rarely get visitors up here, but it's so nice to have. Would you like to have some tea? Of course. And he kind of moves to his table at the back, where he has this magical little teapot that he starts to. He lights a little fire underneath it to start warming it up, and prepares a few little cups and says, "I suppose Professor Corbus sent you." Oh, my hearing is not what it used to be, but if it did not fail me then, I heard a note of frustration, was it? You're too kind. He looks pointedly at you, Harlowe. What expression does Harlowe have on her face at this time?
She's trying not to have one at all. She always loved this library. It's amazing. And she's trying to kind of distract herself by looking at all the books and the names on the spines and kind of tracing the patterns and picking up, well, not literally picking up, but seeing all the different things that are out on the surfaces. It's a very magical place that she doesn't get to spend a lot of time in, since it's not her master's quarters. And I know that anything that I let others pick up on in terms of like emotional reactions and things like that would be punished. Maybe not by Professor Silverberry, but I don't know him as well. And I'm just got to be careful.
Okay. Can you make other deception or performance check then for me, please, as you try and suppress any kind of emotion?
Okay.
Okay. You just see Professor Silverberry kind of look at you, um, half curiously and half out of concern. And he just kind of turns his head and says, "Are you all right, my dear?"
Of course I am. I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm fine.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that everything is fine. And he turns back, finishing making his tea. He pours a few cups out and passes you each one. Finds a piece of cheese kind of tucked behind some books, and pulls that out and starts cutting up little pieces for you. Invites you all to sit with him. Well, you must be wondering why I have summoned you here on this day of all days. Um, you can see um, he takes his wizard's cap off and kind of folds it gent- like neatly and kind of places it gently on the table beside him. And he looks at it, and you can clearly see there's a sad look on his face. He says, "Hmm. I fear my days as a wizard are coming to an end. I, I'm retiring, you see.
You can retire from being magic?
I can retire from research and academia.
Oh,
No one really truly retires from magic.
oh. So you're leaving here?
Yes. Yes, I think I am. Uh, you may not know this about me, but I was originally from Chowa. The Tangle there was my home. I have not seen it for decades. I think it would be nice to go home.
I'm I'm going I'm going there also, apparently.
Yes. Professor Corpse, your master, had mentioned that to me, and that is why I summoned you here to ask if you would like to accompany me.
That would be nice.
He smiles when you respond that way and takes a sip of tea and says, "It's always more pleasant to share the road with friends and colleagues."
That's what they say in the stories.
Hmm. Yes, you have not had much opportunity to leave the outpost, have you? I mean, aside from your trips into Wickham Harbor.
But why would I leave? This is, you know, Everything important is happening here. Everything I want to learn was here. My family
He
is
smiles
here.
at you and he reaches out to grab your hand. Do you let him?
I do, but I kind of, the rest of me shrink back a little bit.
He takes your hand in his and just gently kind of pats it and says, Now, Harlowe, I remember the day you first arrived here, when Professor Corvus came back from his expedition with you. I thought, now there's a young girl with much potential. She's going to go places. I could just feel it in my bones. And I dare say, your talents and your potential are being wasted here, my dear. And I believe your master saw that too.
But he said that I can't do the things that he wants me to learn. And how could it be a waste if there's so much still for me to learn here?
Professor Corvus is a very proud man. And he should be. He has accomplished much in his life and tenure. You have been his greatest mystery, however, one that he has not been able to solve. He simply does not understand who you are and your connection with the great rhythm.
He says that I don't understand my connection with the great rhythm.
As I mentioned, he is a proud man and one who not often admits he was wrong or was unable to achieve what he set his mind to. He is sending you away because he cares for you.
Okay. I'm going to go back to sort of looking at my books in my lap and just sort of tracing the words on the front.
And he turns to you, Enid. Our time together here has been brief. And for that, I am sorry. But I see great potential in you as well. Have you ever considered taking up the arcane arts of sonomancy? It's not for everyone, I understand. But I feel that you have a natural aptitude for such things. I would be honored if you would perhaps consider it when it comes time to choose your path. That's all anyone can ask. Oh, there is one other trivial matter. And he gets up and shuffles across the room and digs through a pile of books. You have no idea how he organizes anything in this library, but he seems to know exactly where everything is at any point in time.
Makes total sense to me.
He pulls out a large tome, and it's almost too heavy for his frail body to carry. He's kind of hobbling back to your table with it and kind of puts it down heavily on the table with a thud. This. And he rests his hand gently on it as he looks longingly at it. This is the sum of my life's work. I would ask that you deliver it to the Luminarium for me. For their library. The Luminarium is the preeminent place of learning within the Dreamwood. Where else would I leave it? Knowledge cannot be locked away and hidden. It must be shared. Oh, I see you still feel that pain. How indelicate of me, I'm sorry. And he kind of scratches his head a bit when you say that. Well, that makes the second part of my request a little awkward now, I suppose. It is to be delivered to the archivist at the Luminarium, who, from what I understand, is a recently appointed Kieran Nightingale.
Do
Would you?
you know them? The Kieran Archivist Nightingale at the Luminarium at Joa Tree. I wrote it down. Okay, you know them. I said it. I checked something off in my book.
This is a rather odd request, but this is my last act as a professor of the outpost. This outpost, as valuable as it is to our studies and our research, there are only 3 professors here, and only 2 students, the 2 of you. It's hardly a hub of academic. Learning. It is quite literally a backwater library that people get sent to to be forgotten by those who feel we are not worthy of the luminarium. No. I know that it's my fate. But what I do hope is that the knowledge that I have gathered here in this book might help a more recent predicament, the silence of the Spiritsong. You might have noticed it even in these far reaches of the Dreamwood. This tome provides a treatise on that very topic. The relationship between the spirit song and the great rhythm, and how the absence of one is to the detriment of the other. You think so? Perhaps you can read it and let me know your opinions then. Very good. And perhaps you could study at the Luminarium once more. I will write a glowing letter of recommendation for them to take you back. Oh, I could pull a few strings. I might be old, I might be small, but I have a few tricks up my sleeve. It would be my absolute pleasure, dear. No, no. This is not about me. This is not about an old Gerbine ready to curl up with a pipe and a good book. Perhaps by a nice little fire with a plate of cheese and a glass of wine. No. No, this place is for the young folk like you.
While you were talking, I've been kind of peeking into the tome and like making notes in my workbook. Yes. Sorry, did you call me? What? Fascinating.
Oh, you're making me blush.
May I read this while we travel?
Of course. I do hope you are a fast reader though.
The fastest.
Because I plan on leaving within the hour and we'll be there in no time. You see, and as he gestures to the big round table in the middle of the room, somewhere under there is my teleportation circle that will take us directly to the Luminarium.
Okay, that makes more sense actually. Yep. Okay, the timeline in my head. Yep, okay. Well, if I pack really fast, can I come back here and read this until we leave?
Yes, of course.
Okay, I'm gonna just get up and take all my stuff really, really quickly and like run out.
We're leaving in an hour, he yells
Okay, I'll be
after
right
you.
back. I'll be right back.
Enid? Are you ready to leave right away? Enid, this is a place where has-beens go, you are not a has-been. You are a to-be. I will write the most eloquent letter ever written within the Dreamwood, trumpeting your success, your virtue, your intellect. They'll have no choice but to take you back. He looks at you as if, why would you ever not want to be? He knows no other life other than academia. He says, then what would you do with your life then? Yes, I do too. Perhaps you can look after her. At some point in your life, Enid, you will have to choose which clowns and which circus you wish to join. No, my dear, it does not. But I would just hate to see your potential wasted. But find your path, whatever that is, whether it be through academia and the great halls of the Luminarium or something else. Make a difference because you can, and because the world needs it right now. There. He points up at the telescope on his loft there and says, I won't be needing that any longer. You seem to have an affinity for the stars. It is yours if you like. I'm glad. I'm sure it will be put to good use. Share your gift with the world, Enid. And then he looks around suddenly and says, "Oh dear, I." He starts to smell something. You smell it too. It's kind of a metallic, acrid smell. He says, I think I might have left a concoction burning up there. One moment, and he kind of scrambles up the stairs back to the loft, and he starts busying himself up there. You can hear the clattering of glasses and the pouring of liquids and bubbling. He seems to have totally forgotten your conversation and that you're still down there. Yeah. Go ahead and make an investigation check. Mm-hmm. There are so many books here. A lot of them are written in languages that you don't understand. The ones that you do manage to see, a lot of them are based around sound theory, music theory. And you see the odd books talking about the songs of stars and celestial bodies and how that influences music and temperament, even. Nothing really stands out as they're all very highly theoretical, very abstract type books, heavy reading. Not that you can find. You could literally spend years in here and not find all the books hidden away. So in the last hour before you're scheduled to depart, is there something that you would like to do?
Me?
Either of you.
I would like to. Well, I'm gonna go back to my room. I've got this goal to get ready really fast because this is the very last time that I have a scholastic mystery to unravel, which is what I've always done here. It's been everything and something that I always found exciting, and it's easier to focus on that than the fact that I have to leave. So I get back to my room and I'm ready to get ready really, really fast. And it's just a little overwhelming to look around my room and see my home that I have to leave. So I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm going to look over at my desk because my most important stuff is over there. And I guess I'm going to see the heart. And I'd like to pack it with like cloth, like in some shirts, and then like between two books so that it's held like in place and doesn't like break up. And I'm going to pack my dragonfly box and my workbook and everything else that I need that's really important. Any other little gifts from Edwin that I've had over the years. And I guess I'm gonna go to the little closet, which is barely anything, and I'm gonna take out my penknife and I'm gonna like get down on the ground, put my head like kind of just inside the edge of it, and I'm gonna put HY right at the very base. So I'm gonna scratch it in, put a mark that I was here, and then I've been really fast. I've done this really, really fast. I'm going to go toward Professor Cobras's office. And if I see Karma, I'll say this to Karma, but if I don't see Karma on my way down there, I'll keep going. And I'm going to crack open the door and peek in. Is he still in there?
He is still in there. And Karma is kind of curled up on a corner of his desk. Can you make a stealth check for me, please, just to see if you are noticed? He does not seem to notice you there. However, Karma just lifts her head up and looks directly at you.
I'm gonna put my hand out and kind of back out of the doorway, sort of like a "come here, Karma, if you want to" situation, and see if Karma comes towards me or not.
Sure. Can you make a quick perception check for me, please?
Yep.
Okay. Karma jumps off the desk and comes trotting over to you, tail straight up.
Okay. So I've backed into the hallway. If Karma's come out to me, I'm gonna just give Karma some scratchies. And I know that Professor Cobras can see and kind of hear through Karma, or at least kind of knows what's going on sometimes around Karma. And I'm gonna just like give Karma some scratchies because Karma's the only really super nice thing that's always around me here. And I'm gonna look at Karma in the eyes and I'm gonna say, I'm gonna make you proud. And then I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna go with all my stuff back to the library. I don't know if Professor Cobras was looking or not, but it's for me.
Karma, after you give her the scratches and say those words, this kind of sits there outside of Professor Corvus's office and watches you leave. Now, do you turn it around at all, or you just like walk away?
Yeah, when I get to the end of the hallway, I'm gonna like just take a peek.
Can you make another perception check for him, please?
Okay.
You see Karma still sitting there, but she raises one hand as if she were waving farewell. And then you hear Professor Corvus say, Karma, where are you? And she just quickly ducks back into his office.
All right. Get my pack all set and I go back to the library. I have books to read.
Enid, sorry. What is there anything you would like to do in this last hour? Okay. All right. Okay. So when you get back to the library, the two of you, you can see that Professor Silverberry has tried to start moving books around, clearing the table off so he can push the table, but he's been unable to on his own. Did you take his tome?
Me?
Enid? Or Harlowe? Did one of you take his tome of his life's work?
Yeah, I've just been kind of reading it until it's time to go. So
Okay, so Harlowe, you have it then.
okay.
Enid, did you take his telescope? Okay. So we'll add that to your inventory too. So you see him, he's kind of like pushing as hard as he can against the table. It's like moving barely an inch. He's struggling with it. Do you help him? Better than his -2. So Mage handle. Every little bit helps. Harlow, do you help move the table aside?
If he says anything about like, oh, this is difficult, then I will instantly jump up and start to help. But I won't like really pick up that it's expected of me otherwise.
Okay. He looks over at you and says, oh, I am too old for this. I haven't used a circle in ages. Would you mind, please?
Yeah, of course. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. And then I'm gonna put the book away really carefully, hastily, in the packs, and like kind of push it off to the side and jump up like a whirlwind to help.
All right. You see now that the center area has been cleared of the table and most of the books and scrolls, what look to be a number of ruins kind of carved into it, almost as if they were burned into the floor in a circle. Um, and you can see him kind of looking around his bookshelves now. Oh, now where did I put that spell book? It's in here somewhere. And he starts rummaging through his bookshelves. Says, no, this is no. This is, oh, here it is. Teleportation circles. And he pulls it down and starts leafing through it. Luminarium. Oh, here we go. And he shuffles back towards you and says, "No, no, gather around, gather around. Have you got everything?"
I think so. I think so.
Very, very good. Let's all stand in the center then. And he kind of directs you all to stand in the center of these ruins. And once you're all standing there, he kind of goes back to his book. He's holding it there. And he holds one hand up. He's got his wizard hat back on again. And he starts incanting these arcane words. And as he does so, the ruins begin to glow and activate. All right. So he's in the middle of casting this spell. The circle's glowing. You see wisps of magical energy kind of rising up around you, swirling. Space and time seems to warp all around you when suddenly bursting into the room is Professor Tuttle. And she runs straight towards you, Enid. You duck, okay. She rushes in, pushes past Professor Silverberry, causing him to lose his book and balance, and he says, "Oh dear!" And you can tell the magical energy start to shift a little as he loses his concentration on the spell. And with Professor Tuttle directly in front of you, she passes you a small scroll case. And she says in a husky voice, like, "Find the other 4 verses. Don't let them get you." And then she looks around quickly to see if there's anyone following her, and she rushes out. And you can see Professor Silverberry on the ground now, trying to scramble, get the spell book going, and try to continue on with this ritual. Oh dear, I don't know if I can control this anymore. And first of all, do you take the scroll case, Enid? Do you have it in your hand?
Holster?
Okay. Okay, you tuck that away, and you hear Professor Silverberry say, "Hold on tight," as it feels as though your stomach is now in your throat. You feel your body being kind of ripped apart all at once in a strange, kind of weird sensation, tingling. And then
I'm
everything.
gonna grab Professor Silverberry's shoulder because he said hold on tight, and I'm not holding anything, so that's the best explanation I can think of.
Okay. And as you feel your body being transported to God knows where, everything fades to black. And that's where we will end tonight.
Very cool.